Hey, I had to do a show. Not a show. I had to do a quick video. I like my little puffy eye over here. I got like a dirt or stain or something. Anyway, I wanted to do a show. What you're hearing in the background here, let me turn it down a little bit, is Thorn Witch, project out of the UK. It's a woman who makes, I think, her own instruments from what I know. And my buddy Will Veeder, who I play music with and put out records by, turned me on to it. The last couple times he's picked me up to go to shows, he was playing it. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, Thorn Witch, you turned me on to it. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It turns out our buddy John Schoen turned Will on to it. John has been playing Thorn Witch on his radio show over at WAYO, WAYO LP Rochester, wayofm.org if you want. His show is Wednesday nights, tonight, if you're watching this today, tonight, 10 to midnight Eastern Time. It's an amazing show. It's called Uncomfortable Communications. You should check it out. I have a show on Fridays, noon to 2 Eastern Time, called Numbers, if you want to hear that. But John's is amazing. He's always turning me on to new music. He's been doing that for a long time. What, like 3/5 of my life now? Something like that. But this is the Thorn Witch record. Unfortunately, the corners got a little... I mean, they're worn-looking covers anyway. That's what they look like. There's a slight dent there, but don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so I got those the other day and posted those. They're on my Bandcamp, carbon-records.bandcamp.com. And two other things I want to talk about. Joe over at Minimum Table Stacks, great label. He does some distro too. Runs a great label, puts out some really great stuff. Usually, like weird, hard to find gems. He'll reissue, or it'll be related things from a band that has put something up. It's just always turned me on to his stuff I have no idea about, and it's always blown away by. And he's been putting me on a tip for some things to pick up, because he knows I do a lot of distro. He's like, oh, you might want to check out this or that. And this was something he told me about a couple weeks ago, and I reached out to the guy. The artist was selling the copies. A label put them out in Austria. But the artist has a ton of copies in the U.S., and he was looking for someone to help sell them. Joe sold some of them, but he's like, yeah, you should pick some up too. The artist is Scott. Oh, where is it? Scott Seskind. This is his debut LP. It came out in 85, I think. And then this is, originally it was only a cassette and then a CD. Came out in 91, and this is the first time it's on vinyl. They came out last year, I think. Real, like, super acid folk style, which isn't always my cup of tea. Like, I like the psych stuff, but I normally don't like, I guess, acid folk, or I don't know. I do. It's off and on. This stuff's really fascinating to listen to. Both of these they're up on Bandcamp, and I think you dig them. Pretty affordable too. I don't know. That's it. I got a ton of stuff in. I just sent out a thing on Bandcamp, just reminding people about those Scott Seskin LPs, but also about the Kind book, or the Clean book. I still have a few copies of that left, and I still have a handful of copies of the Tony Conrad book still in stock. If you're still looking for those, the Kind, or why do I keep saying the Kind? The Clean book. The author of that, Richard Langston, was on Mark Masters' podcast this week, the Music Book Podcast, and I recommend you checking that out. It was a fascinating interview. Of course, told a lot of stories about what's in the book and stuff like that, but Richard talked about how he learned, through interviewing the surviving members of the Clean. He learned all the stuff he didn't know, and he's known those guys for years. So it was really fascinating. And I still haven't dove into that book yet. I can't wait to dive in, because he was teasing all these great stories out of it. So Anyway, if you're looking for that, I have copies of that too. And I have a handful of new things coming in any day now. I hopefully will get those Tomo hurdy-gurdy records in. They got stuck. That's on Not Wilg. They got stuck in Belgium because of the Belgium postal service strike that happened, and it just cleared up like 2 days ago. And they posted that it'll take them like a week to kind of get through all that stuff that's been sitting locked up in places. So hopefully that makes it over. It looked like it like cleared customs on their end, and then it got stuck. Like now going on like 3 weeks ago. So it's driving me nuts. But I have new copies. I have copies of that coming in. I have copies of the new Bill Nace and Watson LP on Amish. I have new copies of that Yoho Tovinen record. What else do I have? I have that Toothpaste for Your Elephants double LP comp that came out on a brand new label called I'm going to say this wrong. Om Mahdin, maybe? From the UK. I got a ton of copies of that. That features Thorn Witch and Old Saw. It's got a bunch of great, I think Henry Birdsee's on it too. It's a double LP. Really fascinating compilation. I'm always psyched to see new labels start, especially when they start with a comp too. That's kind of a cool way to start, I think. What else do I have? I have the two brand new LPs coming out on Discreet. They're getting released any day now. And the Blood CD that came out last week, I have copies of that coming too. And copies of the latest issue of Record Time. That's number 4. So all that stuff's got to be coming in the next couple days. Tomorrow I have an LP, the latest Carbon release, dropping off on my doorstep tomorrow. That's got to be coming out in 2 weeks. I'll tell you what it is. It's a Joseph Alred LP. Fascinating stuff. His stuff can range from some traditional stuff. His last record was like a band almost soundtrack. My cat's coming in. And this one was heavy American Primitive. I mean, he knew what I wanted to hear, I think. So it's heavy American Primitive guitar work. It's 4 pieces, 2 on each side. It's awesome. I have a new cassette coming out in a couple weeks from J.W. Bird. Where is it? Hold on. My cat's distracting me. It's Kevin Coleman and J.W. Bird doing guitar and fiddle, violin, fiddle. And I have those, and I have 5 other things in the pressing plants right now. So very busy coming up the rest of this spring for the Northern Hemisphere anyway. Enjoy, and I'll let this play for a little bit. We'll listen to this a little bit. Thanks for watching. Oh, I was on the Vinyl Collective Social Club, Jason Rojas' show the other day. I want to thank those guys for having me on there. I apologize if I talk too much because I have a tendency to do that. It was great. I was on with Jose from Aurora, great label down in Mexico. It's called, what's the full name of the label? Why am I blanking on this? I'll find it. Hold on. Yeah, Aurora Central. Sorry. He's putting out some really great. He does a cool range. It was fascinating on the podcast to talk to him because we have a ton in common. Where like our labels, each of our labels basically covers everything we're into, or at least a chunk of what we're into, and we don't necessarily focus on one little thing like only do psych or only do this. So, it's kind of cool. Like, he does cool, like, guitar stuff. He does electroacoustic stuff, but then he does Merzbow, kind of definitely noisier stuff. He does Steve Rodin, very quiet, minimalist kind of stuff. And he does some other synthy type stuff, too. So it's kind of neat that he doesn't necessarily, like, limit what he's focusing on, and I do the same thing. So when people ask me, like, oh, what does Carbon put out? I'm like, oh, it's kind of whatever I'm into. American Primitive, heavy psych, things in between, weirdo experimental, But he was fascinating. So I'm going to be getting actually releases of his soon, too. I just put an order in. So I'll have those in a couple weeks because he's waiting on one thing to drop. and then he'll ship those out. So that'll be fun to get. But it was great talking to him and the other guys about running a label and our, challenges or whatever like that. So check that out. I'll put a link down below to that episode. All right, cool. Have a good one. Bye. Great stuff.